Hello and welcome to another episode of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at Dynasty Dad FF. Rookie drafts are in full swing. I got 22 of them going today. I'm super excited for this time of year because Snoog and I are here to help you guys win your leagues. Make sure you guys go ahead and smash that subscribe button today and enjoy the process. We have an entire, group that we're going to be going over. We're going to have this round one mock. Snoog, this entire draft is going to be wild. The first round, everything is increased in stock, in my opinion, and it couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, a lot of things are changing a little bit here, so I'm excited to jump into this first round and talk about this historic running back class. We're going to have probably 5, maybe even 6 guys kind of sneak into that late first, early first range, but I'm excited to kind of go over this class because tight ends and running backs were flying off the board. So,
Yeah, without further ado, almost everybody says, hey, Dad, you always have the 101. So I was like, all right, Snoog, you can have the 101 today, because I know it's going to be the same in every single league unless you play in a crazy IDP format. So take it away, the 101. Who you got?
That was the hardest decision I've ever made because it's been probably Ashton Jeanty for over a year now. This is a guy that checks every box. Don't need to sell you on him. Got 6th overall draft capital to the Raiders. Going to be the clear-cut guy there. Probably see 300-plus touches as a rookie. Pushing for that Dynasty RB2, even RB1 spot. So easy pick there for Ashton Jeanty. Dad, is there a scenario where he sneaks into the late first round of startups heading into next season? Can you see that type of flip in his value?
Into next season, yeah. I thought you were going to start saying redraft because I honestly think he's a round one
redraft pick already. Player. Yeah, 100%, 100%.
And that's when you have that. We talked about the guys since 2015 that have done it. Zeke, Saquon, McCaffrey, Gurley, these guys that are drafted really early, get the draft capital, get the landing spot. This landing spot's great. Geno Smith is great at checking down to the running backs and getting him involved in the passing game. Pete Carroll has been known to, this is his beast mode. This is his Marshawn Lynch, who's even more talented than Marshawn Lynch. He's going to be heavily involved. The offensive line has improved. They go out and they get a couple. Last year, it was Brock Bowers, and that's it. They go out and they have a really good draft getting Jack Beck and Deontay Thornton. I think Thornton's going to stretch the field. All systems go for Ashton Jeanty. Yep. He's a top 5 to 8 redraft running back. Clearly the RB3 in Dynasty could potentially get up as high as RB2. If you guys are looking for rankings, we have all of our rankings, all of our Dynasty rookie content at patreon.com/smashaccept. That is your place to pay to get into the Discord. Snoog, it's been wild. We've been doing hundreds of DMs a day. We're starting new services. We got mock drafts in there with Scarface. Al Kalo's in there now giving, fantasy advice on top of Snoog and I. So it's been an awesome experience. And in every single one of those, I'm telling them to go ahead and at the 102, you can go ahead and put it up there a while. My 102 was, and always has been Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton lands with the Chargers, an absolute violent runner throughout contact, someone that has elite burst, someone that can do it all. He has reliable hands. He's not an elite pass catcher by any stretch, but you see what he goes to is he goes to a Chargers situation with Jim Harbaugh. He goes to a Chargers situation that was 11th most in the NFL in carries, somewhere where he gets an elite tackles with Alt and Slater on the outside, 3 interior linemen, all with 80-plus PFF grades. He is going to be the guy. And I know some people say, well, Najee Harris is there. Najee Harris signed backup money. Omarion Hampton falling to the Chargers for Jim Harbaugh. He brought in Najee Harris in case he didn't get himself an Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton is now my Dynasty RB6. And I know to some people that's going to be crazy. He's my 102 in all formats. If it's PPC, I think he's an absolute smash at the 102. Every single league, I'm hitting it there. I'm getting him wherever I can because I think this is a star in the making, Snoog. And the wide receivers are great at 3 and 4, but I think Omarion Hampton has just separated himself from the crowd.
Yeah, love that pick there. I think he is guaranteed a big workload with Jim Harbaugh. Match made in heaven for him and his skill set with a coach like that. The 103. There's 2 guys here that you could argue 102. You could argue Hampton, like all this, but I'm going to stay with my gut here. I'm going with Travis Hunter. Liam Cohen got his Chris Godwin, 2nd overall draft pick. They traded up first just to move up and get him. If you just watch the interviews of James Gladstone and Liam Cohen talking about this guy, it's like they're drooling over him. They got googly eyes for this kid. They literally think he is the best football player to ever touch grass. He's coming in. They said already in an interview he's going to be primarily offense to start. if he can learn plays on defense, then he can play a little bit of snaps there. But they drafted a couple corners as well. He's probably going to play snaps. If they're playing a Bengals, he's probably going to line up on Jamar Chase a lot, situations like that. But I think he's going to be getting 8 to 10 targets a game out of the slot in the Chris Godwin role. And I think Trevor Lawrence can be Baker Mayfield. And I do think Trevor Lawrence, Travis Hunter, and Brian Thomas Jr. are all going to be good players. None of them get hurt in value. BTJ is still going to be a stud. Travis Hunter is going to come in and be a stud slot, an explosive playmaker. His offense is going to be elite. If you want to go high floor here, you can go with the guy who Dad's going to go here at the 104. But I love just the upside and the unknown and the uncertainty with Travis Hunter. So I'm going all in here on him.
Yeah, Snoog knows who I'm going to take here. This is, my 103 is Tetairoa McMillan, and I think you can't go wrong with Hunter and McMillan. I think McMillan has a safer floor. I think his ceiling is pretty close to the same. I mean, you're looking at both of these guys have top 12 Dynasty upside. I think Tet McMillan is a lock to be a wide receiver 1 in Dynasty because he gets Bryce Young, who towards the end of the year, finished as a top 12 quarterback over the final 8 weeks. During that span, we all know Adam Thielen was a top 15 wide receiver. This is a huge upgrade from Adam Thielen. Tetairoa McMillan is going to dominate this wide receiver room, 140 plus targets as a rookie, and you're going to get a crazy return of investment because honestly, he's about as bust proof as you can get at the wide receiver position. Very safe floor, very high ceiling. 1,300 yards in back-to-back seasons in college. I think he is their red zone threat. I think he's going to be everything for this offense. And as long as, Bryce Young continues to mature and progress, I think you're going to see Dynasty wide receiver 1. If Andy Dalton gets some starts, you're definitely going to see him play as a Dynasty wide receiver 1. So Tetairoa McMillan, set it and forget it. And at this point, I think we have 2 more guys here that are in this tier. Jeanty's by himself. Hampton and these 2 wide receivers are I almost want to put them in their own mini tier.
Baby tier, yeah.
Yeah, because I think 102 to 104 is just a hot zone. But 105, 106, I think there's a couple other guys here in this area that deserve their own tier. You're up at the 105. It feels weird to have you taking the odd picks and I get the even. But who are you taking at 5?
So I'm going to go ahead and take my guy here. This is a guy that I had RB2 all during the process. Just from a fantasy football perspective, I still think he can get to a path where he ends up being one of the top producers, if not the second best producer behind Jeanty in this class. He just has a little bit of more obstacles than a Hampton going right in first round draft capital. But we saw in 2017 with Fournette and then versus Kamara and Mixon and Dalvin Cook and some of those guys. And there's been situations where first round running backs don't outproduce the second round running backs. But the hit rates are so much higher on the first round running backs and the value is there for Hampton. So for me, getting my guy Treyveon here at the 105 is just, it feels like a match made in heaven, right? Because you're not taking him over any of the guys above him, which would be bad value in process if you did. But you're taking a hot swing on a guy that's going to be a PPR machine in a Patriots offense where he's literally going to be the second target out of that entire offense. Like he is going to be a guy that has 70, 80 plus reception upside if he hits his ceiling. Josh McDaniels is a screen merchant. Drake May is known to be a check down guy when he needs to take it. So to me, I think this is just really with the draft capital, a match made in heaven. Ramondre Stevenson's a jag. Like, what is he? A 12 touch guy with no juice. That's not really good anymore. I'm not worried about him when you take a guy 38th overall, when you have plenty of other needs like wide receiver and offensive lineman, etc. They took a running back. They believe in this kid. He's the 105 for me.
Yeah. I'm in what year can you get the QB1 overall that goes 101 overall at this spot? And I know we've gone back and forth and, I think the 106, 107 is just perfect for Cam Ward. 101 through 104, I'm not touching him. I can see taking him at 105, if you need the quarterbacks, but 4,300 passing yards, 39 touchdowns, 67.2 completion percentage. And then he added in, and people don't realize this, but he added in 4 rushing touchdowns, 200 rushing yards. Someone that, you and I have said is he plays the quarterback position like a point guard. He's someone that's going to be able to make plays that not all quarterbacks can have. He is the clear-cut quarterback 1 in this class. I would honestly at the 106 entertain a lot of different trades. I'm trying to trade back for Jackson Dart. I'm trying to trade evenly for Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield's guys that I know are going to clearly put up points, but you can't go wrong with Cam Ward at 106, considering you're getting a quarterback one who's
Yep.
going to be young and elite, give you that opportunity. I would not take him. I mean, I see a lot of people taking him 102, 103. I just think Hampton,
No.
Hunter, and Tet are too good to pass up for Cam Ward. If you're there and you need a quarterback, take him over Henderson, but don't take him over those other guys.
Yeah, I love that. I love this pick. This is one of my favorite picks in the draft just because it's the back end of this entire tier. You're getting a running back getting traded or picked in the top 36 picks. Again, to another situation, much worse than the Patriots, though, where they need a lot of other needs and they swing high for the fences for an elite workhorse running back in the top 36 of their picks. They needed a quarterback. They needed a wideout. They needed defensive line, defense, corners, freaking wide receivers, need anything you could think of position-wise the Browns need. They took Quinshon Judkins, and he checks every box from his true freshman breakout season with 1,500 plus yards to hitting 1,000 plus yards in every single season he played in college football, to doing the early down grinder work, to playing on third downs, to being good at pass route, workhorse running back. And you're getting a guy that is going to a great situation with Kevin Stefanski that's going to absolutely force feed this guy the football. Top 36 draft capital as a running back, is elite draft capital, and he is just checking every box. So to me, at the 107, getting another workhorse running back who's in both of our top 10 dynasty rankings at the 107, best value probably so far. If you're just looking at like for all the tiers, you're getting the guy that's kind of at the back end. So whether it's Henderson, Ward, whoever it is you get at 107, it's going to be an absolute phenomenal pick by you with not much risk involved in a mid first like that. But I mean, Dad, these 4 running backs we have taken in the top 7 picks are all top 10 in our dynasty rankings right now.
Yeah, and that's the awesome part of it is if you guys, we have already updated all of our rankings on where these wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, tight ends fall into the overall dynasty landscape. So, you can see, you jump in there, you're like, okay, Dad has Treyveon Henderson above this player, above that player, and start to help you guys formulate some dynasty trades. Snoog, this is the spot in the draft where I'm starting to look at some trades because I feel like you got 2 tight ends here that get really good landing spots. That if you're playing 0.75 tight end premium, I think you have to smash one of the tight ends. You have a couple wide receivers here who got round 1, round 2 draft capital, a couple of running backs who got day 2, round 2, round 3 running back capital, and it's like, it's a juicy area. I think for this particular draft, I'm going to take Colston Loveland. I know I waffle back and forth between Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. Colston Loveland going to the Bears in that Ben Johnson's just recreating his entire offense he had with Detroit, right? He goes out there and he drafts Colston Loveland to be his Sam Laporta. And we saw what Sam Laporta was able to do. Whether he's going to be as heavily involved as Sam Laporta is yet to be seen. But I think you and I have hit on that where they drafted Luther Burden. So I think one of these wide receivers might be gone next year. And that's DJ Moore is the rumor that they don't love DJ Moore. Ben Johnson's just, that's not his guy. I think this is his guy. Colston Loveland is not going to be in line blocking very often. He's going to be out there in the red zone, making mismatches. I think he's a lock for 8 to 10 touchdowns as a rookie. And already my dynasty tight end, 5 and 6. Like I said, I go back and forth with him and Warren literally every couple of minutes because I'm like, I can see the side for both of them. So now you get the tricky part. You got the 1-9. Are you taking the other tight end?
No, I'm taking my 108. And I think you could argue any of these guys, but I'm still super high on Emeka Egbuka. We talked about it a little bit earlier on the show, but to me, I think he's just a high-end fantasy football projection type of wide receiver. He goes to a landing spot that's not the best. I'm not scared of it, though. I think we saw with JSN, we saw at Odunze that they could kind of hold some value still, even if they have kind of a flunk year. But I think with those guys that we just had, people are kind of expecting this with Emeka Egbuka now. And now everyone's just going to say, well, I'm waiting for next year. So I'm not selling him. He's not going to lose value because of it. But to me, Chris Godwin coming off a season-ending injury again at the age he's at, I really think Emeka Egbuka is going to be the number 2 guy in targets in that offense pretty quickly, if not the number 1 within a year or two, with Baker Mayfield, with an offense with a bad defense that's going to need to throw the ball a ton like they did last year. I think Emeka Egbuka is crazy good value here. I love the Loveland pick. To me, I would have it flop. So I just have Emeka 8 and Loveland 9. But these two, you cannot go wrong with either of them, depending on the format. And I think Emeka Egbuka projects to be an elite top 20, top 24 dynasty wide receiver pretty quickly for me.
See, this is that fun area where you know your league mates. So if I wanted to, I would go ahead and snipe you on your guy here but I do think in this format, we all play tight end premium of 0.5 to 0.75. I think Tyler Warren just has fallen too far in a lot of drafts just because guys are moving up. It's not that he's done anything wrong. It's not even that the Colts landing spot is bad. It's just Anthony Richardson. And we play a long game. We're not here to play one season of fantasy football. We're not, if we're talking redraft, okay, then I'm going to move to a different direction. But I think Tyler Warren, you will see what he can do with Anthony Richardson, but I think you're going to see him get designed runs. You're going to see him get designed passes. You're going to see him totally involved in this offense that lacks an elite option other than Jonathan Taylor. I mean, Downs is all right. Pittman's all right, but there's no true red zone threat there. Michael Pittman, I think, has caught 2 touchdowns or less in multiple seasons. So I think he's going to be another guy that in the red zone, if this offense works, could catch 8 to 10 touchdowns automatically in my top 5 to 6 dynasty tight ends right there behind Laporta. I don't think with the landing spots, either of these guys pass Laporta, but I think they're right on his heels, and I think at the 5 and 6, I had like both of them over Kittle, but I don't like them as much as Laporta yet, but that could change.
Yeah, and what I really want to highlight now with this 111, 112, I'm getting a lot of questions in the Discord on Twitter. Like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do with this 111, 112. I'm going to break it down with my process right now of what I'm doing. So you got a quarterback, you got a round 1 wideout, you got 2 day 2 running backs. I want the guy that I think is going to gain the most value here. To me, that is Kaleb Johnson out of Iowa. I just think Steelers drafting a day 2 running back with many other needs. They didn't even have a quarterback yet. They're just kind of in that situation where it's like, we need guys, we need playmakers, and they take a running back. They believe in this guy like crazy. They probably didn't even think he was going to fall to them at that 3rd round pick because they didn't have a second. I think he can gain the most value here out of anybody because he's a 21-year-old running back that checks every box, had a ton of pedigree coming out as a prospect, goes to the Steelers. He's going to get a ridiculous amount of volume in year 1 and gain value heading into year 2. Also, Dad, we talk about this a lot. Running back is one of the easiest, safest floors and picks to make in a rookie draft. Mm-hmm. So to me, I think Kaleb Johnson gives you upside, gives you floor, and gives you a situation where you don't have to be worried about, oh, well, they drafted they have a Najee Harris, or they have a Ramondre Stevenson, or they have this guy. Like, they have Jaylen Warren, who's like 27 years old and hasn't really ever been anything other than a change of pace guy. So to me, it's wide open. The strength of this class is running back. I'm going to continue that throughout this rookie draft, taking that as the sign, like, okay, I'm just going to keep taking running backs over wideouts that we're trying to push up the board. You could argue a couple guys here, but I'm going to leave 112 to you, Dad, at the end.
This is a juicy spot because I think 112 to 203. I love players here. I mean, I love players. I'm going to talk about who I'm not taking first. I want to take Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart, big time arm, mobility. The day that he starts, he is going to increase in value, and I think he's the Bo Nix of this class. I think he gets into that Giants offense, is going to get opportunities and skyrocket. His wide receiver, Trey Harris, going to the Chargers, I think is in consideration. Matthew Golden going to the Packers in the 1st round, definitely in consideration. We play to win. What position puts you over the top? It's that 6th running back that was taken in inside the top 2 rounds. RJ Harvey has to be the pick here. In Sean Payton's offense, someone with great contact balance, can score at the red zone, elite speed and burst. We saw him, in the 4.3s at the combine. Came out of nowhere to a lot of people. He was a sleeper for you and I early. He's moved up to, in that Sean Payton offense with just Audric Estime, the only other running back in town, he is going to dominate the touches. He is going to have a phenomenal. If you told me he was an RB1 this year, the only reason he's not higher up is because he's 24 years old. He will be a top 15 redraft running back, in my opinion, 15 to 18 in this season if we can get things going. So I love RJ Harvey here. The early 2nd is loaded with talent too. You get Scatterbo, gets a good landing spot. Dart, Harris, Golden, Burden, so many guys in this draft. It's a sweet 17. We had it as a sweet 16. I think RJ Harvey getting drafted in here. It's a sweet 17. That's what we're looking at. If you can get it inside that top 17, do it. If you can go ahead and get inside the Smash Accept Patreon, you should do it. I'm going to post a link here below. Guys, all of our rankings, every single format, everything you guys need, it's in there. You have rooms 101 to 112. talking about the trades that you should make. I put suggested trades, and you're in there with a group of 100+ guys that are drafting from that same spot. So they're doing the same thing that you are. You're learning what the trends are. You're saying, oh, in my draft, Tetairoa McMillan went 102. You know, another guy's like, no, I'm doing this. And you get to see where everybody's going. It's the best place to be right now. I had someone the other day said, I have never seen a Discord like this. Everybody was talking at the same time, answering questions, getting it done, having fun. If you guys have always wanted to be part of a community where you just want to talk shop, it's even great for that. You know, you get the content, but you get community. Nothing better than it right now. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the process.